This is Homegrown, showcasing Alberta producers, artisans, and farming communities. Brought to you by Connect First Credit Union. Hello, I'm Laree Williamson, CEO of Agriculture for Life. Today, we're joined by Holly Nicoll of Holly Nicoll Photography in our Homegrown series, where she is put in front of the camera, and we're going to learn about her passion and love of agriculture that we usually see from behind the camera. So thank you for letting us come to the house today.
Thanks, Laree, for having me, and yeah, I'm excited for our conversation today.
Yeah, well, we did have a giggle going, yeah, it'll be fun to get you in front of the camera because you're always behind the camera and you take such beautiful captured moments of agriculture and its people. And so we were for sure wanting to make sure that we came out and had an opportunity to learn what drives that passion. But before we get there, we're out just west of Calgary.
Yep.
And that's home for you.
That's right.
So did you grow up out in this area? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I grew up west of Calgary in an area called Jumping Pound, and it's mostly a ranching community. My great-grandfather homesteaded here in 1905. As kids, we grew up on the ranch, running around, doing lots of outdoor activities as farm kids do, lots of chores, riding horses, and just having a good time being ranch kids. My mom was very involved in horses, so we spent a lot of time at local horse shows and showed at quarter horse shows across Western Canada. So spent some time on the road doing that. So yeah, had a great childhood.
So now your love of agriculture stayed with you. You grew up on the ranch. You pursued a career in agriculture as well. So what was it that drove that? How did you follow that through?
Yeah, it's an interesting journey that I've been on. I went to university and I graduated from the University of Alberta with a plant and soil science degree. When I started university, I started in a pre-veterinary program and decided that I really enjoyed the crop production end of agriculture. So that's what I do in my full-time job. So the photography is a part-time passion for me, showcasing agriculture and the people in it.
So when did you pick up your first camera?
That's a really good question. And when I think back about, how did I get into this business and picking up a camera, it probably all started back as a sales rep. The marketing team would send out videographers and photographers to spend the day with me and capture content. I quickly realized that the people that we were working with did not understand agriculture. And as I moved into marketing area of the business, I just couldn't find the images that I was looking for online through stock photography sites or whatever. It was disappointing to me to not be able to find that. And so I just started picking up the camera more. It's a passion that I love, and I love it because of the technical aspect, but also just the creative piece. And there's just always something more to learn and get better through the lens of the camera.
Yeah, and capturing that moment. You're so good at capturing moments. When you have people in your shots, their character comes through. And I was smiling to myself when you were talking about the stock footage that we try and find, and you look up agriculture or look up whatever, and what comes up, and you're like, oh, is that what the world thinks?
That's right.
Right. So I can see, as you were going down that marketing journey, going, okay, I need to get some of my own photos because, yeah, this is not real. This isn't what it looks like. You spend a lot of time with your camera, and I know that you do invest in, your skill and learning more, and then getting out and practicing it and working with community members. You travel around, I think, quite a bit, don't you, to go to different farms and ranches to get some shots?
Yeah, I sure do. And so through the years with working in the industry, I've got to know a lot of different people, and they trust me enough when I call to say, can I come out? When are you doing your fall roundup? When are you branding? Or they actually just call me and say, come on out, Holly, we're doing this on the ranch today, or, it's harvest time and we're doing this. That's the great thing, is that I have a lot of great people that allow me to come out and spend time and trust me enough to showcase what they do for a living, and being able to promote that, it makes me real proud.
You made a very valid point. There's a trust there. coming into my livelihood, my home, my family, my friends, my community, and you're going to capture what it is that we're doing. And because your heart is made of agriculture, you can do that. And when people look at it, whether they're in agriculture or not, they can appreciate that you're telling a story through that lens. When you capture just that moment in time and you don't need to say anything, that's pretty neat.
It really is neat, and I've had the feedback that people really feel what that photo is about. It's important for people to feel that image. There is a bit of romanticism with the cowboy life and the Western lifestyle, and it's important that people understand that ranchers work very hard and it's under any conditions. To be quite honest, my favorite days with the camera are the most horrible weather days possible. And if I'm out photographing, those are the images because they just show the resilience of the people involved in agriculture and working through the day. I think about the cowboy that's put 14 hours on the back of a horse and he's finishing up his day. And he's out, looking over the ridge and the sun's going down. He stops for a minute. He thinks about his day. He appreciates where he is. And so if I can grab that image of that, people appreciate that too. Maybe not knowing that he's put 14 hours in the saddle, but just the appreciation of that lifestyle.
Now, the work that we do with Ag for Life, we do a lot of obviously around agriculture education and connecting Albertans to food and farming. From behind the lens, I see a very important role that you play in that as well. You're getting people that are paying attention to these photos from around the world. You're telling the story through your camera. And so do you think of that when you're taking the images?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there's different areas that I focus on in the photography. I think I can add a lot of value as a photographer because I have a good understanding of the industry and what they do because I've grown up in it. So that's really important as well. When I'm behind the lens, I do always think about what is the story that I want to tell about agriculture in this moment, and also make sure that it's real and authentic.
Yeah, and you have you have a style to you. So when you see, a collection of your work, that's Holly's, or your character is coming through. You're capturing the character, but your character's coming through, which is magical about artist and artistry and having that ability, because it's that blend that I think that's what makes the images so special and the story. What's your favorite part? What's your favorite day out with the camera?
My favorite day with the camera is the day that Holly gets to go out and create what Holly wants to create. On my drives to work or just sitting at night editing photos, I'll think about that next shot that I want to create or what I want to get. And I'm fortunate that I have lots of great people to work with, and I'll sit down with them and say, hey, what do you think about doing this? And the neighbors, the cowboys will say, are you crazy? And then I let them think about it for a while. Usually they do come around because they're just great sports. So those are the days when I can create something that I've an idea in my head and just bring out the story behind it, and that I can tell, say, the story behind the image, whatever it is in agriculture that's happening, and hopefully educate people about it, but also share the beauty of the image itself too. It's those creative days that I get to work for myself. Those are fun.
Where would someone find your work?
So I do have a website, and it's hollynicoll.com, and Nicoll is spelled Nicoll. You can find me on Instagram. That's mostly where I post most of my work, and my handle is @holly.nicoll. And then I also, I'm on Facebook at Holly Nicoll Photography.
Perfect. Excellent. And where do you see your hobby career headed with the photography?
Where's the future of the photography for Holly Nicoll?
Yes.
Well, it's interesting. As I move forward, I mean, there's always things to learn. And being perfectionist, I want to keep learning more of the technical aspects, but just continuing to work with commercial agriculture clients, and eventually it may turn into a full-time job, and we'll just see where the journey takes me and go from there.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much. We are delighted that you let us come in and have a conversation and get into that creative side and hear about your story and your connection to agriculture.
Thank you, Lurie. It's been a pleasure.